Hello, welcome to Jessie at Home. In this video I am going to show you how to make these flowers using the Boy Flower Maker, and I'm going to show you how to make them in one solid color so you won't be cutting in between the steps of making the flowers and making the little center of the flower. Okay, so to begin I have the Boy Flower Maker. Okay, these are just some examples of the flowers. We'll get them out of the way. I have some scissors. I have the little hook tool. I have a needle. And I have some yarn. I am using Red Heart Boutique Unforgettable yarn to make these flowers because it makes them in all sorts of different colors. This is a this is about as thin as I would go for the yarn, although if you make it with a really thin yarn, it's just going to give you a different look. These look really nice with some thicker yarns as well, but I really like the way they look with the Red Heart Unforgettable, especially with the color changes. So we're going to do that. So let's begin. I'm going to take our little flower maker here, and we have our yarn. Here's my tail end. Here's my end that's still attached to the whole ball of yarn here. And I'm going to just twist this little loop all the way around. And I twisted it away from me, so I twisted it kind of away from the tail end. And now I'm going to take and put this loop onto the little stopper. Now I'm going to have to hold on to my tail for the first few steps, or else it is going to come undone. But after I've done a step or two, this little twisted loop will actually stay on. I'm going to pull my thread. What I've done, I should have told you at the beginning here, is I've actually numbered my little pegs. I don't think you can really see. I used a black Sharpie. And they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the working end, which whenever I say the working end, it means the end still attached to the ball of yarn. I'm going to place it in between 1 and 12 and in between 6 and 7. Okay? And then I'm going to work counting backwards. I'm going to wrap this yarn around peg 6, and then I'm going to come back and going the same direction, going to wrap it between 1 and 2, and between 1 and 12 and between 12 and 11. So I'm still wrapping in the same direction. I'm always wrapping clockwise. I'm always moving my hand clockwise. So clockwise brings me over to number 5. I'm in between 5 and 6. I'm wrapping around 5, so I come in between 5 and 4. And I'm going to keep on going, counting down, so before 12 comes 11. I'm wrapping around 11. Before 5 comes 4. I'm wrapping around 4. Back to this side. Before 11 comes 10. Wrapping around 10. I'm going to keep doing that. 3. Sorry, it's hard to do this without putting my hand in the screen, in your screen. 9. 2. 8. 1 and 7. Now you want these to be kind of pushed down, and by now I can let go of that and it's not going anywhere. You want everything to be pushed down. You're going to keep going back in your circle. So now we're going around 12 again. I just went around 1, so before 1 is 12 if we keep going in the circle. I went around 7, before 7 is 6. Keep on going. 11. Make sure, see what I've done here is it slid up and it caught in that little notch. I don't want that to happen. If you need to use your other hand to hold down your loop, then go ahead and do that. Where were we at? We were at, oh my goodness, I can't read these numbers. 5. Wrap it around, keep it low. 10. 4. 9, 3. Now sometimes I just start turning And it's almost a little easier, but you have to keep track of your numbers if you're doing it that way. 8, 2, 7, 1. Okay, everything has 2. You want to keep going till everything has 3. 6, 12, 5, 11, 4, 10, 3, 9, 2, 8, 1, and now I see that 1 is going to have 3 around it, but 7 still has only 2 around it, which means I need to go around 7 again. Now, that means I've gone around everything 3 times. Okay, I'm going to push these down a little bit. I've gone around every single peg 3 times, and what I need now is I need about 3 feet of extra yarn. So I'm just going to hold on to this and pull out about 3 feet of extra yarn and cut it. Now I'm going to thread it onto my needle. Now, because again, this is not cutting my yarn, because I'm making the hole in the center the same color as the flower, and unfortunately this run of the Red Heart Unforgettable that I use doesn't have a whole lot of color change in it. When it does, it still makes the center kind of a little different color, but what I'm going to do now is drop this needle through this center. You can see clearly there's a hole right here. Okay, you can see this hole in the center. I'm going to drop the needle through it and pull that yarn through it. Make sure that I don't catch anything. See, I'm catching all of these little pegs. You don't want to catch them, so it just takes a minute to pull that yarn all the way through without catching any pegs that you weren't supposed to catch. The last peg you caught was peg number 7, so that should be the last thing caught. Alright, so now it is time to make the flower center, which is done first in between the petals and then in the middle of the petals. So we start off, and we're going to continue to work wrapping around clockwise. We're going to start and place our needle again between 6 and 7. Okay, so come up between 6 and 7. And then down between 1 and 12. And pull this nice and tight. Okay, you might have caught this end here. Don't worry, just get it out of the way. Okay. Now we're going clockwise. So this time, instead of between 6 and 7, we're going between 5 and 6. And instead of between 1 and 12, we're going between 12 and 11. And keep on going clockwise around. So now between 5 and 4, and between 11 and 10. Between 4 and 3, between 10 and 9. You can see when I'm pulling it, I'm actually pinching it with my fingers underneath to hold things tight. Between 3 and 2, and between 9 and 8. Oh, and I caught something, so I'm going to uncatch it. Between 2 and 1, and between 8 and 7. And now I've gone in between every single petal, and you can see already how it makes these much neater little spokes, and you can actually see the center of each petal as well. You can leave it like this if this makes you happy. I like to split the petals as well. Kind of gives them a little more body. So I'm going to now go in the middle of petal 7 and come down in the middle of petal 1. and keep working around clockwise again in the middle of petal 6 and down in the middle of petal 12. Five and 11. 4 and 10. 3 and 9. It's not uncommon to catch things, you just uncatch them. And 2 and 8. Now we've gone all the way around in a circle. Now what you do is I use the needle here to kind of just pick this loose. There we go. And then I turn the whole thing over and I find that piece that I picked loose and I use the hook to grab it and pull it up. And you can see I have these two ends and I'm just going to tie them together . Clip them kind of long. Now I have this flower and it might seem really hard to get off, and it is kind of hard to get off if you're going to try to pull one petal totally over top. And this is where these nifty little grooves at the top of each of these pegs come in handy. You turn your flower over and you push down on each petal. Let me show you what that looks like from the top here. I'm pushing down from each petal and I'm pushing it into, pushing each petal towards the groove, and after a few of them they actually slide right into the groove, and you can go back and get the first few that didn't quite go all the way in. And once they're slid into the groove, you can see this is much looser because you've just given yourself a little bit of extra room by sliding everything into that groove. Okay, now you can take your hook tool and you just slide it underneath, and I use it to just kind of wrap around the peg and pull that flower petal up. Slide it underneath, I wrap it around the peg, pull that petal up. And you really only have to go a little bit more than halfway around before the flower totally comes off. You have to go, like I said, a little bit more than halfway around. Once there's about 4 left, it kind of slides right off. You have this flower with these two ends. Ta-da! There you have it.